All right, good afternoon, traders. Today it is the 5th of January, 2026. Happy New Year. My name is Coach Carignan. I'm the lead instructor here at the BYOB Trading Room. That is the day trading service for the hit and run candlesticks family. Today we'll look at how I made $1,200 with a 30K account, utilizing 10% of the account value. That's $3,000. Let's take a look at the market for today. Let's take a look at what we traded. Let's start off with the obvious, what happened the day before. So we had a move up, and then we consolidated over prior consolidation. Okay, that was into the close on Friday. So here's consolidation, consolidate over it. Okay, and then in the post-market, we continued with that consolidation. From there, we went into the pre-market for this morning. And again, we had consolidation over prior consolidation. That's a bullish. This is a bullish environment because it's above this consolidation. This is a bullish environment. It's above these two consolidations. In other words, price has moved up and it's holding the higher ground. Okay? So in this morning, if you watched the video or if you were here, I mentioned the range for this morning's price action. We were ranging from here down to here. Okay, so a breakout of the range, okay, was a buy. All right, because we're bullish. We were looking for a 10-minute uptrend on the 10-minute chart. We're looking for a 10-minute uptrend, maybe even a 5-minute uptrend that manifests into a 10-minute uptrend. Okay, so we saw price try to break down and create a lower low. Price failed to produce a significant, in the pre-market, a significant lower low. So a failure to produce that. Price was then failure to break the bearish 10-minute rubber band candle. Price was snapped back to VWAP. VWAP is usually always our point of interest. We had a buy breakout over the top of that. That would equate to a red erases green entry. All right, so let's put in the red erases green. So we went from this high down to this low right there. All right, and then you can see, all right, we had, here come the green. All right, we're going to have a red erases green. A green erases red. So here's the green erasing the red. Okay, so the bears failed to make a significant lower low. Price came right in through here. And there was your buy right across the top of that box. We broke out of the morning range. That was the buy. The buy actually happened in the pre-market. So we had a 10-minute uptrend, all right, that already had started in the pre-market. We bought 0 DTE calls because we were trading a continuation of the 10-minute uptrend to the upside. Okay, and we'll zoom in on this. All right, and you can see price. We have a rubber band candle right here on the 10-minute chart. This is the 10-minute chart. This is the spike candle. It's still attached to VWAP. This is the free-floating candle that surpasses the spike candle. A closing over the rubber band candle equates to a break of the bullish 10-minute rubber band candle. So we closed over it. That was a clue to buy right out of the gate because you already had the breakout, and it was a clue to buy right here. So we bought calls. All right, if you want to see what calls we bought these 690 calls. Okay, and you can see we bought them right out of the gate, and we were selling into strength. So every time that call candle went up, I sold into strength. On the dips, I reloaded, sold into strength, sold into strength. See the red dots? Okay, those are sells of contracts. Okay, so we're selling into strength as price goes up. We have a 10-minute uptrend. If you were watching this morning, I had a grid or a net of sell orders up above. Okay, they were already in there, and price ran into my sell orders and triggered profits for me. If you were with me this morning, you saw I had a net of buy orders underneath to get reloaded. So price, when the price dipped down, when the option candle dipped back down, I got reloaded. You can see here's the buys where I got reloaded, and here's the sells where they ran into my net or my grid of sell orders up top. So I'm buying the lows of the candles. So I'm actually picking off the lows of these option candles because we have a 10-minute uptrend. All right, now all I have to do is make sure that my 10-minute uptrend is still intact. And then I will keep my buy orders underneath, all right, my grid of buy orders for price to pull back and reload my contracts, so I'll have something to unload up here again. Okay, so then we had another push right here, all right, and then I sold into that. So on those, made 575 on those calls. Traded some 689 calls, and that was basically buying the dip right here. Okay, so that's the 689 calls. You can see I bought the dip. You got the sword candle right there. The sword candle usually equates to price moving from the high down to the low and then back up. Okay, that's the sword candle. So I bought the sword candle, signifying a possible bottom to this pullback down. Okay, so haven't quite got the mastered the uptrend yet, but looks like that's as far as they're going to go. Looks like they want to go a little bit lower, but we'll see. So on that, I made 702, and that was easy to make that because, my gosh, they were only 3 cents and 4 cents a share when you're buying them down here near the end of the day on a zero contract, okay? A zero DTE contract. So I'll erase those. Okay, now because price, I'm going to zoom out here. Now because price is holding the upper third, you're kind of wondering how I got these 4 DTE calls. Okay, because price is holding the upper third. There's the breakout right there in the pre-market. Okay, because price is holding the upper third, I got some longer dated calls because I'm still bullish. Okay, so I take my quad lines and I fan them in here from the bottom to the top of the move. Okay, capturing the whole move. Okay, we're in the upper third right here. All right, this would be quadrant 1, quadrant 2, quadrant 3, and quadrant 4. Okay, so I want to capture the upper third. We're in the upper third, so because we're in the upper third, my bias is still bullish, and therefore I buy some 4 DTE calls. Okay, only got 1 so far. Again, I'm bidding for them. All right, so only got 1 so far. I'm bidding at 62, 60, 55, and 50 right here. So we'll see what happens. Market's still bullish. I was planning on market trading near the high of the day at the end of the day. Doesn't look like that's going to happen in the next 9 minutes. So they may pull back to, see that tweezer top right there? They'll probably pull back to that tweezer top area. That would be the other side, the southern side of the upper third, and probably provide a bounce in the post-market or in the pre-market tomorrow morning. And I would look for price to come back and retest this area up here. Okay, so currently on the 10-minute chart, you can see we have a 10-minute downtrend. Okay, the 3 is underneath the 8. Okay, the 3 and the 8 and the candlesticks are underneath the red dots. That's the 17. Okay, so 10-minute downtrend coming into the close. But we're still bullish because we're maintaining the upper third of this move up and holding this higher ground. Okay, so we look at the 2-hour chart. On the 2-hour chart, you can see the 3 EMA is no longer below the 8 EMA right here. The 8 EMA is the white line. So the 3 is no longer. So we have the 3 is now in the candlesticks up over the 8 EMA. And we have a bullish 2-hour uptrend at this time. We'll see how long they can hold it. We'll see what happens. All right. So there's the 2-hour uptrend. All right. So we have a 10-minute downtrend and we're closing out with a 2-hour uptrend. Now, if you ask me what my favorite trade is, okay, this is it. It actually happened today. Okay. It is the 10-minute uptrend. Okay, over VWAP. Okay, you can see the candlesticks riding on top of the 3 EMA. That's the yellow line. You can see the 3 is riding up over the 8 EMA. That is the white line. The 8 EMA. Exponential moving average. Okay, and is all pointed up. See, the 3 EMA is pointed up. The 8 EMA is pointed up. They are over VWAP. So it is a 10-minute uptrend over VWAP that resides inside of a 2-hour uptrend that resides inside of a daily uptrend. We're bullish still. This is still a daily uptrend. We haven't broken this low, so we're still in an uptrend inside of a weekly uptrend, inside of a monthly uptrend. Okay, so I got all the bigger time frames supporting my 10-minute uptrend, making it probably last longer and go further. Okay, so that's my favorite trade. And I like that when it's all up over, okay, the all-time high anchored VWAP. So let's take a look where the all-time high is, right here. That's the all-time high. So I come over here to my anchor, and it says AVWAP right here. And I plunk one down on the top of this candle right here. Okay, so you can see we had a 10-minute uptrend over VWAP residing inside of a 2-hour uptrend. Okay, 2-hour uptrend residing inside of a daily uptrend. Okay, still holding the highs, haven't made any lower lows. Inside of a weekly uptrend, inside of a monthly uptrend, okay, all over that all-time high anchored VWAP, which is this pink line or purple line right through here. You can see the 10-minute uptrend over the all-time high anchored VWAP. Okay, when it comes to VWAP, VWAP typically represents the price where the price that shares or shares should be trading at. And if the market is willing to pay more than the VWAP price, it means that price is bullish, meaning this is what they should be buying them for, but they don't want to wait for them. They don't think that they think that they're undervalued down here, and they're willing to pay higher than what they should be paying for them because they're bullish on the outlook of the security, all right? Meaning, and that's what causes VWAP to move up or that anchored VWAP to start to hook right there. So there's 10-minute uptrend, and now you can see we're getting a pullback, all right? So it's almost 4 o'clock, getting a pullback. Got a 10-minute downtrend coming into the close. See that? 3 is underneath the 8. Okay, candlesticks under the 3. All right, 10-minute downtrend coming in the close. 2-hour uptrend is still intact, okay? Still got the candlesticks up over the 8. 2-hour uptrend. Just getting a 10-minute pullback right now. Where will it turn around? I suspect right in that upper third area. Okay, so probably right through, probably pull back to this right there, right where we opened up. Okay, I'd look for it to J hook off that upper third area for the bulls to protect their lead. You can see price going up, and we're moving over to the right so far. All right, so there's 10 minute. All right, let's take a look at QQQ. All right, let's take a look at QQQ. On the 10-minute chart, we have, I'm going to call it 10-minute bearish consolidation. Okay, we had a nice little 10-minute uptrend. We lost it, so we went up and we gave it up. Okay, so that's just neutral. Okay, still got to measure this off. Okay, still in the upper third. Look how the bulls, look at the third. See how the bulls, see this would be the neutral area in here. This is the upper third. Look how the bulls protected that upper third. Came down, they bounced it. Came down again, they bounced it. It's coming back again. They'll probably bounce it. We'll see what happens, all right? But you can see price goes up and it's holding this upper third area. So that's bullish on QQQ right there. So into the close, we've got 10-minute downtrend coming into the close. I'm going to call it 10-minute bearish consolidation because we came down and we're basically moving over to the right. On the SPY, I'm going to call it a 10-minute downtrend because it actually is a downtrend on the 10-minute chart. You can see the 3 is underneath the 8 and price is moving lower, making lower highs and lower lows. Okay, so back to QQQ. All right, let's take a look at the 2-hour chart. Okay, on the 2-hour chart, we have the candlesticks with the 3 up over the 8. So we have a 2-hour uptrend coming into the close for QQQ. Okay, I don't know why these are way out there. Let's kind of move this over. There we go. Okay, 2-hour uptrend coming into the close. On the daily candle, looking like we've got an inside day. All right, so that's a lower high and a higher low, and we're closing over a bearish trap and over the flat 17 EMA. Okay, so if we look at this from the bigger picture, notice here's that diagonal support line I was outlining earlier today. Okay, diagonal support, otherwise known as an uptrend line right there. Okay, we're up over. This is the all-time high. This pink line is the all-time high anchored VWAP. Okay, we're up over the all-time high anchored VWAP. Okay, this is our April low. Okay, we're up in the middle or near the top of quadrant 4. That's bullish, still bullish. We haven't broken this low. That's bullish and in an uptrend for QQQ. SPY. Okay, probably going to be the same thing. I'm going to remove that and remove that because we don't need it, and take this and remove that. Okay, today's candle, higher low, higher high, closing over. Okay, you see the 3 is now curving up and over the ADMA, closing over a bullish cross. Okay, closing over the flat 17 EMA. Okay, bear in mind that's the all-time high. We are within striking distance of the all-time high. Remember, we came up to 689.54 today. Okay, so price is still bullish. All right, we are still in range of making another new all-time high. Okay, so there's SPY on the daily chart. Obviously, it's at the top of quadrant 4. Okay, here's our April low. All right, so we're bullish and in an uptrend still. Okay, we haven't broken any lows, so we're still bullish and in an uptrend. So there's SPY on the daily chart. Okay, let's take a look at Diamond Dow. And look at Diamond Dow. Diamond Dow puts in a new all-time high today. Okay, just drop the mic. It doesn't get any better than that. All right. Obviously, you can't make new all-time highs without being bullish and in an uptrend. Okay? So obviously Diamond Dow still bullish and in an uptrend right there. See that? See the lower third? See the upper third? See how the bulls protected the upper third? Right there. Okay, so that's bullish and in an uptrend. Okay, let's take this off. Let's go look at IWM. All right, IWM, and I'm just going to say, looks like about 15 days ago, 20 days ago, they made a new all-time high. Today's candle was a beautiful green candle. Higher low, higher high, closing over a bullish cross. See the 3 crossing up over the 8, closing over the all-time high anchored VWAP. That's a pink line. Okay, closing over the 17 EMA. Okay, they're still in a downtrend. But John, how are they still in a downtrend, right? Because here's a low, they made a lower low. In order to negate that downtrend status, remember it's just a label, okay? They have to take out that wick up there. Okay, so once they take out that wick, all right, they will have then created a higher high. So far, we have a lower low, and that keeps us in a downtrend. Okay, so if we take out that wick, we'll have an uptrend right there. Okay, nice igniting candle right there. We'll see what happens tomorrow. There's the daily chart. If you look at price, it's still in the upper third, even though we're in a downtrend. Okay, so that's still bullish up there. Okay, remember, look at the quad lines. Here's a low, there's a high. Let's measure it off. Okay, see how they recaptured the upper third right there. That would be right where the crosshairs are. See how they recaptured the upper third. They broke down here, they closed it, and the bull said and they brought it back up. Okay, same thing happened a couple days ago. Okay, the bears pushed it down and the bulls said and they pushed it back up there. Okay, so as long as they're going to stay in that upper third, they're bullish. Okay, but they're in a downtrend, no doubt about it, until they break that high right there. You got to call it the way it is. They are closing up over the all-time high anchored VWAP. That's an incredibly bullish close right there. I would have liked to see them close up over these 3 candles here, but they didn't. It's okay, but they're leaning. See how they're leaning on the same area. See where those candle bodies close? Right up here or open. Okay, so you can see we're leaning on the same area. All right, so if they consolidate over to the right, I'd look for a move up. Let's look at this on the 10-minute chart. Okay, again, here's the low, there's the high. Quad lines in there. Okay, we're in the upper third. That's bullish. All right. So we're in a downtrend, so we're still bullish. Okay, back to the daily chart. Middle of quadrant 4, that's still bullish up there. Okay, but we're in a downtrend. Okay, that's not moving down. Okay, a downtrend that's not moving down. Notice they're reversed. All right, they're going in the wrong direction if they're in a downtrend. So there's IWM holding the higher ground up there. So that's bullish, but in a downtrend. Let's take a look at FNGU. This is a stinker, okay? Because this one carries a lot of weight. This one's like 10 of the most heavily weighted securities in the QQQ and the SPY. If you want to see who they are, I actually have them. Okay, let's take a look at weighted stocks. And right here. Okay, so these are the weighted stocks. Yes, I want to see the site. Okay, so if you look down here, okay, this only has 10 products in it. Okay, the FANG stocks. This is it. FNGU 3x leveraged exposure. Okay, so the top one is NVIDIA. No kidding. Broadcom, Alphabet, Amazon, Meta, Apple, Microsoft, CrowdStrike, Netflix, Platinum. So I see they got rid of Snowflake. All right, so obviously you can see there's only 10, 5 on this side, 5 on that side. I think that's all they'll ever have is 10. All right, so obviously their outlook for CrowdStrike and Platinum looks bullish, obviously, because they included it in the top 10. So now let's take a look, take a mental picture of this. Actually, I'll do this. Okay. And no, that's not what I want to do. Let's try new. Try new one more time. Doesn't want to work. Go figure. All right, take a mental picture. NVIDIA, Broadcom, Alphabet, Amazon, Meta. Let's go take a look at the weighted inside the S&P 500. Okay, who's at the top? NVIDIA, Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, 2 Alphabets, a Meta, and a Broadcom. Okay, pretty much the same thing, right? Okay, you can see that's when these move as a pack. See the weight they have within the ETF. All right, so these move as a pack together. They can drag that index whatever direction they're all moving in. Okay, you can see they're all the same ones, the biggest heavyweights because of their market cap. Let's take a look at another one. Okay, let's take a look at the NASDAQ. See how they're weighted inside the NASDAQ. All right, this is good stuff. It's always good to review. Okay, NVIDIA, Apple, Microsoft, Amazon. Hey, it's the same suspects, right? NVIDIA, Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, Meta, Broadcom. Oh my gosh, in the NASDAQ 100, it's the same ones. Look at the weight NVIDIA gets inside of a index with 100 components. Okay, almost 14%. All right, between the top two, they make up 25 or 26. That's a whole lot, okay? That's 1/4 of the NASDAQ. If you can get these two moving in the same direction, along with anybody else in there, all right, you got yourself a game, all right there, okay? If they're moving in the same direction. But obviously you can see red triangle, their price was down, their price was down, their price was down. So that's 25, that's 35 just in the top 3, 35. Now you get one more, Amazon, that makes 40. So 40% represents the NASDAQ 100 out of just 4 companies. See the power that these hold over those 2 indexes? It's incredible, okay? I mean, when these things start to move, those 2 will start to really rip in whatever direction they choose to go in, okay? So there's the NASDAQ. All right, so you can see that's why we watch the FNGU. I'll go back to it. Again, this is the FNGU. I'm going to get there soon. And firing up now. We'll see. Anyways, not here yet. You get the picture, okay? So that's why I watch FNGU. Okay, now you can see price on the FNGU. It's got a bearish head and shoulders. That being the head, left shoulder, right shoulder. From there, we started putting in lower highs, all right, and lower lows. Looks like I got disconnected. All right, so let me reset everything. Okay, make sure. Can you guys still hear me? Can you hear me? No or yes? Pete can hear me. All right, in the BYOB room. Anybody in the BY, you can hear me. All right, we'll keep going. All right, so lower highs. See the lower high? There's a high. They made a lower high, and then they're making lower lows. Another lower high, made a lower low. Another lower high, made a lower low. Not quite a significant lower low, but they're hitting this I'm going to call it support line right through here. Okay? They're trying to bounce. I'm going to say it's not a very convincing bounce. All right? See the green candle they can put in when they're ready to bounce? Okay, they can really put in some green candles when they're ready to bounce. Why are they not ready to bounce? Okay, that's not the same look as what we had right here. Okay, so that doesn't bring a lot of good feelings right there. Seeing that's it, you know, you want to say that's all you got. Okay, so it's not looking good. All right, they break down below this. The market could fall apart rather quickly, and I'm talking, you know, like SPY 600, SPY 550, maybe even 500. All right, if these break down, all right, and start producing more lower highs and more lower lows. This is the last bit of the bullish consolidation. Remember, this is our April low. We went up and then we bull flagged. All right, see the bull flag right there. We went up, kind of consolidated. Okay, so this is the last bit. We get below this, things start really looking ugly, so be careful. Okay, so that's FNGU on the daily chart. Okay, for the candle, it was an inside day. That's a higher low and a lower high. We closed under a bearish trap. We closed under a falling 17, okay? And we closed under the all-time high anchored VWAP. And we closed underneath all of the prior consolidation up here, okay? So not a very healthy look for the bulls. Kind of looks like they got the flu, all right? Maybe even something worse. But anyways, that's not a good look. And that is showing us a bear flag right there. And let's put it on so we can call balls and strikes accurately. Okay? Notice we're in the lower third. Okay? That's bearish. All right? Just from the perspective of here. If we even drag it even lower, yeah, we're in quadrant 1 down here. Not a very good place to be. All right? If these are the 10 of the most heavily weighted securities in the QQQ and the SPY. All right, so again, here's our April low. All right, and we look at the quad lines. We're no longer in the upper third, so that makes us neutral. All right, because we're not in the upper third anymore. Okay, so if I remove this, actually, I can go right here and just put the quad lines back in. Okay, you can see this would be the upper third. Right here, okay, right there. That everything above that line would be upper third. We're not there. We're still neutral, all right, right here. And we're bearish. If you look at the last move, it's a move down, and we're consolidating. Well, actually, we're closing candles down here in the lower third, so that's bearish. Okay, so that's FNGU. So think about, you know, how you want to hedge your portfolio, because things could fall apart. We'll see. All right, right now, some things are looking bullish. Some things are not looking good at all. Okay, so that's weird, isn't it? How the FNGU is just neutral, but here's SPY almost at the all-time high. Diamond Dow made a new all-time high, but yet here's FNGU, okay, looking like everything's going to break loose and fall apart, okay? That's really weird. That's why we got kind of some conflicting signals. It makes it difficult to project the market. Over here, when everything was moving up together, all of them were moving together to the upside. It was very, very easy. That was easy. This is hard when you got big caps moving in the southern direction, small caps and mid caps moving in the northern direction. Okay, so there's FNGU. Neutral, still in a downtrend. Okay, let's take a look at silver and gold. Start off with silver. Okay, let's start with right here. Okay, again, here's our 2022 low. That is our all-time high. Okay, we'll look at this. Today's candle, a higher low, a higher high, closing over a bullish trap, over a rising 17 at the top of quadrant 4. Okay, this is quadrant 1 way back here in 2022. Okay, this is quadrant 1, top of quadrant 4. So that's bullish and in an uptrend. Let's take a look at gold. Higher low, higher high, closing over a bullish cross. See the 3 crossing over the 8, closing over the all-time high anchored VWAP. Top of quadrant 4. We haven't made any lower lows. Okay, so we're still bullish and in an uptrend for gold and silver. Let's take a look at UNG. Okay, UNG inks out a new all-time low. Okay, so here's our 2025 high. Okay, for a whole year, we had trouble closing candles over it until the month of December, right there. We had a little cold snap, and we got up over the 2025 high anchored VWAP for a week, and then we lost it. Okay, so all-time low today. Obviously, you can't make all-time lows without being bearish and in a downtrend. Okay, we're making lows, we're making lower lows. So UNG, bearish and in a downtrend. USO, okay, this would be crude oil. Price action today. Wow, that's a nice candle. I really like that candle. I wish the FNGU had that candle. All right, so we got a lower low and a higher high. Okay, because this would be the day before's candle. We're closing over a bullish trap, over a wonky 17 EMA. We're still under, see the green line? The downtrend line, otherwise known as the diagonal resistance. Okay, if we happen to close a candle, okay, up over that wick right there, okay, we could have ourselves an uptrend. Okay, doesn't mean we broke the downtrend line, but we could have ourselves an uptrend right there. Doesn't mean we're going to break it. Just means we're in an uptrend because technically we made a higher high. Okay, so there's USO. We're still in a downtrend, all right, and we're still neutral, okay, because we're not in the upper third, we're not in the lower third, so we're just neutral, all right, just neutral and still in a downtrend. Notice we're still underneath the 2022, okay, high anchored VWAP, okay, still underneath that. Okay, so maybe 2026, there's some hope for USO. We'll see. All right, so there's USO. Still not ready. Okay, UNG. Okay, making new all-time lows. Obviously, still not ready. Okay, let's take a look at our technicals. T2101. Okay, this is breadth, aka you can use the word participation to, to replace breadth with. And what we had, the market moved up today, and we had an increase. Well, let me rephrase that. We had a little dip, but then we came back. So I'm just going to call it, they moved over. I'm going to call it a decrease. All right. So a decrease in participation as the market moved up. You want an increase, okay? You want to see the river of money being fed by capillaries, all right? Capillary streams and rivers, okay? When it's not being fed by capillary streams and rivers, kind of indicates a falseness in the bullishness, all right? So that's not a good sign right there, okay, for T2101, all right? T2101, T2122, okay? Look at the small caps, mid caps, everything unweighted. All in all, the market made a bullish move today, breaking out of the seller's chop zone, okay? Ripping right through the buyer's chop zone and landing in the buy zone up here, making little higher lows. So the 15-minute chart, little higher lows and higher highs, and closing out inside the buy zone. So nice work for the bulls today. Okay, T21.22. T21.23. Well, we had a bullish gap up. Notice the bears didn't fill the gap. We closed over the 200 SMA. That's always bullish. We actually made a higher high. See the high right there? Well, we made a higher high, so that's bullish. All right. So price action up over a rising 200 SMA, also bullish. We didn't make any lower lows, so we're still in an uptrend on the T21.23 15-minute chart. Okay, so that's still bullish. See how price moves up and holds the higher ground. Bullish right there, T21.23. Same product, now the 3-bar chart. Okay, it's a bigger time frame. Okay, so here's our April low. That's our all-time high. You can see here's the 200 SMA. So we're still up over a flat or a wavy 200 SMA. Okay, there's a high. We're still holding the highs. So we made higher highs. So that's an uptrend. We're in the middle of quadrant 4. All right, so that's bullish and in an uptrend. Because there's a high, there's a high. Made higher highs. That makes us in an uptrend. We're in the upper third. That's bullish and in an uptrend. Kind of showing inverse head and shoulders here. We'll see if they can get it done. This one got decapitated. Okay, that one failed. Hopefully, this one does not fail. I would like the inverse head and shoulders to actually work out. We'll see what happens. Again, we got the big caps moving down, but we got the rest of the market moving up. All right, so get a little conflict going on. All right, as far as where to put the money. All right, so there's T21.23 3-bar. Now here's FNGU. Okay, bullish gap up. Bears never filled the gap. That's a good sign. Still under the 200 SMA. Okay, not my favorite place to be unless I'm a bear, not a bear. Okay, and we got lows, and we made lower lows. So we're still in a downtrend again on FNGU 15-minute chart. And we're under the 200. And we're under the all-time high anchored VWAP. Okay, and we're under the resistance line. Okay, so, and we're under consolidation. Okay, so everything is not looking good on FNGU. And these guys carry a lot of weight, so not making me happy at all. T20, that would be FNGU. All right, so that's it for today. You saw how we made some profits right there. I shared with you how we made profits. We traded these 690 calls right out of the gate, and because we had a 10-minute uptrend. Okay, and then we traded the 689 calls, okay, into the exhaustion candle, which came down into the same area right here. Okay, and we bought the dip, and it went up a little bit, but still could not complete the higher high. Okay. John, can I look at Rock Lab, UUU, and UAMI? Yes. All right, daily charts. First one, RKLB. Hey, that's bullish, higher low. I would be looking for, on the daily chart, I would be looking for this to produce, I would be looking for the bulls to be inspired, all right, to produce a higher high. That's looking good. Those are two really strong candles. Notice the bulls buy them back up and then take it higher. All right, you get a little dip, bulls buy it back up and take it higher. Two really strong candles. I would look for some follow through on those two candles. I think you get, I think you get a new all-time high. All right, I think you run into this right here. You may get a little pause in this area. If they can get over that, that would be nice. But just bear in mind, right there, you got a little profit taking right there. But I think you can get through that. Okay, you got a higher low. I would be looking for price to make a higher high, and they're so close. All right, and they did it in just a few candles. So super bullish there. Like that one a lot. Rock Lab, all right? Looking for that one to make some new all-time highs. Okay, that's Rock Labs. Take a look at UAME, right? Yeah. Okay, UAME on the daily chart. Well, you got an inverse. That'd be a bullish head and shoulders right there. Okay, you just got to break the neckline. Okay, until it does that, I would kind of stand clear. Wait for them to break the neckline and close a candle up there. And they may be doing that sometime tomorrow. All right, with a little follow through. All right, looks like those. See that? That's bullish closing right there. So looking like they're going to break the neckline. And this would be the neckline right here. Right there. Okay. As soon as they break that neckline, close up over that, game on for UAME right there. Okay. Run back up, challenge that all-time high right up there. Okay. You just got to break that neckline. Okay. Wow. They really took a beating, didn't they? 20 down to 461. I like the higher low. I would expect the bulls to be inspired to make the higher high. Okay, so looking for another green candle on this one tomorrow. Closing up here. Okay, no topping wick candles. Want to see a nice green candle up there. Okay, this is looking good for tomorrow. All right, if I had calls, I would not abandon them here. That's for sure. I'd put my stop underneath right here. Same with Rock Lab. All right. I like both of those. Okay, let's take a look. Strategic mineral. Awesome. All right, so let's take a look at UUU. U, energy fuels. And, wow, that one hit a new all-time high too. All right, with a pullback. Okay. Okay, I would look for this one, get up to, I think that one's got some more juice in it. A little high right there. And it's gonna hit some static right here. Okay, tomorrow morning, just keep an eye on that 5-minute uptrend. All right, that one looks like it's gonna hit some resistance right through here. You got this consolidation. And I'm not saying it can't get through it. I think it really can. Okay, but you got to call it the way you see it. All right, you see what happened. Bears are operating. They pushed it down. Bears operating. They pushed it down. Okay, so they kicked it out of the upper third. I think this can get back up in there. All right, and if it starts closing candles up there, I think this one is good to start challenging these breakdown candle highs. Okay, so watch this one, UUU, to get bullish tomorrow. Got a 3-candle move, all right, and we got some follow through, so that's looking promising. If you got a pullback, did you get a pullback to here? Let's see what we got. That would be support right there. Let's see what we got today. So they got through it. They pulled back, made a higher low, and then ripped up through it for today. So nice rip. Closing at the end of the day, at the high of the day. I tell you what, Robert, I think this one is going to gap up and close up here in the morning. So you're probably going to wake up. If you got any of this, you'll probably wake up with some profit up here in the promised land, all right, somewhere up here, all right, and then wait for that. If there's a 10-minute uptrend, it may happen, it may not. They may push it back down, but get ready to take some profit tomorrow morning. Again, keep an eye. You might get a 10-minute uptrend. You don't even have to take profit. You can just play the continuation of that 10-minute uptrend right there. Nice 10-minute uptrend right there. See the little bit of daylight. Look at that on the 15. Sometimes it's good to look at it on the 15. See the 3 riding up over the 8. Nice bullish trend right there. Okay, and this, if it's not too steep, they can keep this going. I don't know, all the way up to 35 if they want to. But that's looking good. I like that. I like that for tomorrow. I want to see it consolidate over to the right. Once it gets up here, kind of hold that higher ground. All right, right now they're moving up, and I like it. But I think they're just moving up a little too fast, and they might be a profit-taking situation up here at $20 tomorrow morning. All right, so keep an eye on that one. Daily chart, yeah, right here. Okay, 3 candle move, see? 1, 2, 3, right there. Okay, they're getting into this consolidation right there. Okay, see how they got up over the top of that? All right, they're trying to break into that upper third. Right up there. They can get in that upper third and hold. It's game on again for them. All right, look for them to start challenging these breakdown candles. All right, that's the daily chart. Thank you, Robert. Have a great day. Again, traders, everybody visiting. All right, you see Ed. All right. Again, I do free coaching. All right, so I'm committed. If you're going to be committed, I'm committed to making you a winner. All right, so there's my trial form, 14 days, $14. Get yourself a trial. Attempt to break. Bob says CCL. Didn't miss that, Bob. Okay, so CCL, attempt to break 3250. Yes. Just got to get a little bit more out of that. Okay, it's looking good. I like that they're holding. Let's take the quad lines. Okay, you're in the upper third. See that right there, Bob? You're looking good. Okay, CCL is not a quick mover, but I think you can get there. Remember, it's been a while since they were up here before. It had a triple top. See what happened? The triple top, and then you got to sell off to find support. So look where they found support was right through here. They found support. All right, now we're back up there again. All right, and we're in the upper third. Okay, so that's bullish, and I think you look good. But bear in mind, this, if you squeeze these two together, you get a wick. Okay, so let's look at it on the 2-day just for a second. See the wick? See how you compress the 2 daily candles, you get a wick. And what the wick is showing you is that's where the bears are operating. Okay, so can they get to 3250? We'll see. That is a bull flag. All right. Remember, there were sellers here before. We'll see what happens when they get up there now. Kind of follow that 15-minute uptrend. All right. If you get a 15-minute uptrend, kind of stay with the trend. I don't know how close they're going to get to 3250. Okay, but you can see I showed you on the 2-day chart, wicks, that shows you where the sellers are. We're still bullish as long as we stay in the upper third. But they may have to consolidate a little bit more. All right, so it's going to be close. All right, I'm going to say that. I'm not going to say they're not going to get it. I'm not going to say they are going to get it. They are in an uptrend. They have made a higher low here. All right, but it's going to be close unless they could get up over this. I think there's a high possibility because of the T2123. See how the bullishness is going on here? Okay, this is all small caps and mid caps. Okay, so CCL is one of those small caps and mid caps. Again, you look at T2122, you can see we're up here in the buy zone. Things are bullish up there. All right, so you're looking good. I think you can get there. I don't know whether you're going to camp out there and hold the higher ground. I think you will get there, but I don't know is if you'll be able to hold that higher ground up there. Okay? Thanks, Tony. Thanks, Nan. Thanks, Bob. All right. All right, that's it for me for today. Let me make sure I got everybody's questions. Yep. All right. I'll see you guys all tomorrow morning. All right. We're looking for another bullish day out of the market. All right. You see T2122. Okay. It's looking good over there. T2122. We're up here in the buy zone. All right. Like to see us move over to the right. All right. I think we can do it. Okay. But I don't know about those weighted stocks. Okay. Ain't looking good. All right, it's just not looking good here. Okay, but the rest of the markets, I got to tell you, it's looking fantastic. See you guys tomorrow morning. Everybody have a beautiful day. Thank you for showing up. All right, and put me on your calendar. All right, better yet, get a trial. Okay, but put me on your calendar. Make sure you're here. All these open houses. All right. Come get a trial. Let me show you how I can help you. All right? Just give me a chance. That's all I'm saying. Just give me a chance. I'll make you a better trader. All right? I'm going to teach you things that you might not see in other places. All right? And I really think I can help you. All right, traders. That's it. Everybody have a beautiful day. Thank you for showing up today.